Right, so this quick video giving a close-up and a comparison on some of the sling bows. Some of you might have seen these in the other video, but I only showed them briefly, so I'll just show a bit of a better view of them. Now, I've been meaning to do this for a long time, and I've been looking online for slingshots to buy, but because I couldn't see any, or well, I couldn't hold any in my hand and see how they actually was, that I hadn't done it. But I saw some of these in a shop, so I bought a few of them so I could see them, hold them and compare them. And turns out the ones I bought are alright, because you can get some where the metal is really thin and they're not worth anything, not worth even pulling back the bands. So I got these ones and I'll show you a comparison to Barnet Black Widow. Now, most people might know that for mass-produced, manufactured kind of slingshots, these are really good make, Barnet Black Widow. And one thing I wanted to check was I wanted to make sure that the metal was the same thickness as a Barnet Black Widow, and then I was going to be happy if it was. And it turns out, if you can see, that the thickness of these forks and the wrist brace is definitely the same thickness as a Barnet Black Widow. So I was happy in that respect. I think these are definitely going to be strong enough. They're slightly different, but a good comparison. So you see the arm brace is slightly shorter. That doesn't, you know, cause any problems. Still just as good. Forks are about the same width, near enough the same shape, definitely the same thickness wire. Handles are slightly different. So that's the comparison. Oh, and I'll give you a comparison of this one, because this one's, more importantly, I wanted to make sure as well, just so you know. But again, that's about the same thickness, or is the same thickness there as the Barnet Black Widow. This part of this one removes, and it's full. It's one piece of metal, and it's definitely the same thickness as the Black Widow. I think you might be able to put ball bearings in there, or you may be able to put a little kind of survival kit or something. Right, so that's the comparison, and I'll give you a bit of a close-up on the sling bows now. So this one, which is just for standard catapult, what I've done, I've slightly pulled the handle up and put a lanyard on it. Now that's important in my opinion for any catapult that hasn't got a wrist brace, because if you happen to have weak hands, you could potentially pull a catapult out of your own hand and hit yourself in the face with it. But as long as you've got that on there, and because this is all one piece, even if say the handle did break, it will still remain in your hand, if you know what I mean. So this one I've done with a simple arrow rest like that, and that just slots in there. Line it up, and then you just do it up. Now I have to dig some arrows out on a different video and do you some shooting videos, but I've also set these ones up with just a simple bit of string there. So you would knock your arrow on there, and when you pull it back, then you fire it. Now you could dispense with the bit of paracord and just pinch the end of the arrow like that. Either one would work. So that's that one, and I'm going to talk about that one a bit more in a minute. So that's just a standard catapult or slingshot. So this one, similar to the other one, it's got the same string knock there, and again it's got a detachable Oh yeah, so obviously if you want to use it as a catapult, you just take that off, and you can take the string off as well. The arm brace version, exactly the same thing, but with a slightly different arrow rest on there. Oh, and I've got to go back to this one again. Sorry, that hole is for the flight to pass through. Whereas this one has just got a round hole to hold the shaft of the arrow. Same thing, you just undo the wing nut, and then you can take that off and just use it as a standard catapult, or put it back on. You see it there. Put it back on and use it as a sling bow. Once you've got them up a little bit tight, then you can kind of adjust them to how you want them. And do it up tighter. That's that one. Handle is just standard on this one. Right. No, I'll go on to this one now. And this one, what I did, same thing for the arrow nock, but I've replaced the whole front of the handle with a bit of wood. I like to carve out all the bits, and it's got a folding one. And this can be turned around either way, for left or right handed. And you could use it upright or on the side. Right, so that's a look at those. Oh, and the bolt remains in this one, because you don't really need to take this off. The bolt is inside here. So if you took this off, you have a bolt sticking out, but you don't need to take it off, you just keep it on like that. It don't get in the way. Right, now the last thing I wanted to mention is, this is probably overthinking, but this is the way I'm going to go. So once I've probably sold these ones, I'm going to concentrate more on making sling bows from these ones. Now you may wonder why that is, especially if these have got arm braces. If you've got a good enough lanyard on these, sometimes you don't need an arm brace. Depending, if you're relatively strong and got a good grip, you don't necessarily need them. If you've got a really bad grip, then these, definitely what you need. But two reasons why I'm going to concentrate more on these. I'll probably still do these other ones, the arm brace ones, but I'm going to concentrate more on these. And that is because a couple of things. Well, one, it's smaller and more compact, and two, just show you, is that even if this handle broke, which is actually, it is just light kind of plastic, the handle broke, you've still got a fully workable slingshot or sling bow there. That'll still work like that, even if the handle did break. So similar to a full tang knife. So if your handle broke on a full tang knife, you could still use it. If the handle broke on this, you could still use it. But on these other ones, I took this one apart. And the fork of the catapult only goes down to about here. So if you broke it, you may not be able to fix it, and you may not be able to use it. So, in my opinion, in a long-term survival situation, whatever, where you absolutely needed something that wouldn't break, or if it did break, you could still use it, like a full tang knife or a half tang knife. So I've chosen this one. And that's the one I'll probably stick to, or do more of, because in my opinion, it's just much more of a better thing in the long run. And some would do the new ones, I may replace this handle with wood or something. But like I said, smaller, more compact, and if it did break, you can still use this. Whereas any of these others, Because even I know the Barnet Black Widows, they only come down to about there. I'm sure they do. These definitely come down to there. That's probably just enough to grip hold of, but it's not as good as that. That comes right down. Well, I think this is going to be a good one. Like I said, same thickness as a Barnet Black Widow if you need that as a comparison. Nothing wrong with these ones at all. And I think you'd highly unlikely break this one. But if, for example, you did drop it, someone stood on it or broke it or something, they may be a little bit harder to repair, like a short tang knife. Whereas this one, like a full tang knife, if you break that handle, you can still use it. In the wild, you could probably just carve a piece of wood and ram it back down the middle. And I don't think you even need to do that. I think you could use it without it personally. As a skeleton, you know, kind of handled sling bow or slingshot. And I may do some later on with this one, but similar to that, where a handle has got its own folding or arrow rest or something on it. Because if I'm going to replace the handle with wood, I might as well do it. Right, anyway, I thought I'd show you a close-up of that and a comparison to something else and a bit of explaining. So I'm still going to do these ones, but I'm going to concentrate more on these. I like the idea of small, compact, and kind of unbreakable or easily fixable. Because you can get these, if you put that up there and have a slightly thicker lanyard, you can kind of use it. I'm not even holding it. It's just there in my hand, so you don't necessarily need an arm brace if you get the lanyard right. Right, anyway, just thought I'd show you that in case anyone did want to see a close-up. So I've not put them on yet, but I'm going to put some of these on eBay. Then I'm going to concentrate more on these. I will do occasionally some of these, depending. But I think in the long term, that's the better option if you're going to make a small, simple and relatively cheap sling bow. Right, anyway, cheers for watching. I'll see you later.